All right, let's talk about something we all experience, but rarely understand: sex in dreams. Today, we're going to crack the code. But we're not talking about modern psychology. Instead, we are diving deep into an ancient tradition of dream interpretation to uncover a secret symbolic language. You know the feeling, right? You wake up, maybe your heart's pounding a little, and you've got this really vivid, really strange dream stuck in your head. Your first thought is probably to connect it to, physical attraction. But what if that's missing the point completely?
So, this is the key that unlocks everything we're going to talk about. In this tradition, the act of intercourse in a dream is a powerful symbol. It's not about the act itself. It's a message, a kind of code about your real-world status, your goals, your relationships, and even your spiritual path.
So here's how we're going to decode all this. First, we'll look at the code and the brilliant minds who created it. Then we'll get into the cast of characters in these dreams. After that, we'll explore the nature of the act itself and even what it means beyond the opposite sex. And finally, we'll zoom out and look at this from a totally different perspective. Let's get into it.
Okay, so where did this all come from? Well, this isn't just some random guesswork. It's rooted in a serious field of study called Hojaify, basically the art of dream interpretation, and it has a history that goes back more than 1,000 years. The interpretations we're digging into come from these legendary scholars, like Ibn Sirin from way back in the 8th century, and al-Nabulsi. And get this, their system is so solid that modern websites, like the very popular Arabic site Helloha, are still using these exact same principles to answer people's questions today. So this isn't just some dusty old piece of folklore. It's a living, breathing tradition.
And here it is. This one quote from Sheikh al-Nabulsi just flips the whole script. At its most fundamental level, a dream about intercourse is about success. It's about you reaching a goal, getting that promotion, achieving something big you've been working for. It's about power and accomplishment, not passion. Okay, so if the act itself means you're achieving a goal, the next question is obvious. What kind of goal? And this is where the other person in the dream becomes absolutely crucial. Who they are and even what they look like completely changes the meaning of the message.
This is such a great example of how symbolic this whole language is. Let's say you dream of being with an unknown woman who's beautiful. That's interpreted as worldly success literally coming your way. It's a sign of amazing fortune. But if that unknown woman is ugly, the meaning does a complete 180. It points to hardship, to trouble ahead. The person is basically a symbol for the kind of outcome you can expect.
Now, things get a little more personal when you dream about your own spouse. These dreams often connect directly back to your shared life and your responsibilities. A positive dream can be an affirmation that you're hitting your professional goals or that your love is getting stronger. But there can also be warnings. Dreaming of being with a menstruating wife, for instance, is seen as a sign your life has gotten complicated, that things are blocked. And forcing your spouse in a dream, that's a symbolic wake-up call that you might be neglecting their needs in real life.
All right, now we're getting into what can be the most unsettling dreams. And it is so important to remember we're using a symbolic code here. These dreams are almost never, ever about literal desire. They're about family dynamics. Dreaming of your mother could mean you're about to reconnect or take on more responsibility. A sister could be about her getting married or even a major life change like a divorce. Your father could symbolize your relationship with authority. And a brother, surprisingly, is almost always interpreted as a sign of conflict between you. It's a symbolic language for your role inside the family.
So let's add the next layer to this puzzle. We've got the act and we've got the person, but the specific context of what's happening adds a whole other dimension of meaning. Was the act considered, lawful or forbidden within the logic of the dream itself?
The logic here is actually pretty direct. If the act in a dream is symbolically forbidden, it's pointing to something improper in your real life. Adultery in a dream might mean you're doing something unlawful. Anal intercourse is interpreted as you tackling a problem from completely the wrong direction, or, like one scholar said, seeking an objective through improper means. On the flip side, if you dream of being with the heavenly figure, like a Harry from paradise, that's seen as a huge sign that your actions are righteous and you're on the right path.
And this system doesn't shy away from the stuff that's often considered even more taboo. And once again, the key is to look right past the literal and search for the symbolic meaning. In this case, it's all about power, secrets, and social dynamics.
So when we talk about dreams of male-male intercourse, or liwat as it's known in this tradition, the theme isn't desire. It's almost always about a power struggle or some kind of collaboration.
And just look at how this plays out. The doer and the recipient in the dream, they represent a power dynamic. Being with a younger man symbolizes you're going to defeat an enemy. An older man means you're about to gain some good fortune. If it's with someone you know, the one who's active is seen as symbolically dominating or wronging the other person. And if it's two friends, it could be a warning that you two are about to team up for something that's, well, not a great idea.
Now, for female-female encounters, or sihak, the interpretation pivots away from power and toward a different kind of intimacy, the sharing of secrets and influence. So the main interpretation here is that one woman is trusting the other with her deepest secrets and plans. If a married woman has this dream, it might symbolize that she's seeking advice from another woman instead of her husband. And if the two women in the dream actually know each other, it can be a red flag against them getting into gossiping or some other kind of frowned-upon social behavior. It's really all about who you trust and maybe who you're conspiring with.
Okay, so now that we've gone deep into this incredibly detailed symbolic code, let's just take a step back and switch lenses for a second. How would a completely different tradition, like a Western psychological one, look at the very same dream? Well, the difference is huge.
So the traditional view we've been exploring sees the dream as this external map of your life, your status, your goals, your duties. It's a message you need to decode. But in stark contrast, a Western interpreter like Gustav Miller sees that same dream as a reflection of your internal psychology. For him, a taboo dream isn't a symbol for a family event. It's a symbol of your own feelings of shame, and it predicts failure because of that transgression. One is a map of your world, the other is a mirror to your soul.
And that really leaves us with one last big thought. Whether you see these dreams as a symbolic map of your journey or a psychological mirror of your inner self, both traditions agree on one thing. Our dreams are a language. The only question that's left is, who or what is doing the talking? That's definitely something to think about the next time you wake up from a strange dream. Thanks for joining me on The Explainer.